Success has a strange way of lying to you at first. It whispers that one more promotion will finally make you happy. Then it tells you a bigger house will prove you've made it. A nicer car. A larger bank account. Another business. Another milestone. Another victory. You keep running because everyone around you is running too. But almost every millionaire who has reached the top eventually discovers the same uncomfortable truth. The biggest mistake wasn't the risk they took or the money they lost. It was realizing, far too late, that while they were building their fortune, something far more valuable was quietly disappearing. Something no investment could recover. Something no amount of money could ever buy back. And once you understand what they learned too late, you may never chase success the same way again. When Alex Carter sold his software company for $68 million, the world called it an overnight success. News outlets praised his vision. Business podcasts wanted his secrets. Young entrepreneurs treated him like proof that hard work always pays off. From the outside, he looked like a man who had finally won. But every time someone congratulated him, one thought quietly echoed in his mind. If I had understood success earlier, I would have built my life very differently. It wasn't because he regretted becoming wealthy. It was because he had discovered a truth that almost every millionaire learns too late, and it was about to change the life of someone who still believed money was the finish line. Ryan was 28 years old when he first met Alex. He had built a fast-growing marketing agency from his apartment. His company was attracting investors. His income was climbing every month. And like millions of ambitious people, he believed success followed one simple formula. Work more. Earn more. Win more. Everything else could wait. When Ryan received an invitation to interview Alex for his business podcast, he spent weeks preparing. He filled an entire notebook with questions. How did you raise capital? How did you hire the right people? How did you scale so quickly? What investment changed your life? He wanted strategies. Frameworks. Shortcuts. Instead, the interview took a direction he never expected. The cameras started rolling. Ryan smiled. Alex, everyone watching wants to know one thing. Alex laughed. I already know the question. Ryan grinned. So, what's the biggest secret behind becoming a millionaire? Alex looked at him for several seconds. Then he quietly said. You're asking the wrong question. Ryan blinked. Alex leaned forward. The question that changed my life wasn't, how do I become a millionaire? It was, what will becoming a millionaire cost me if I'm not careful? The studio became completely silent. Ryan had interviewed dozens of successful founders. Nobody had ever answered like that. Alex reached into his briefcase and placed 3 objects on the table. A luxury watch. A faded family photograph. An old notebook with worn-out pages. Ryan assumed the watch represented wealth. He was wrong. Alex picked up the photograph first. This, he said softly, is worth more than my company. Ryan looked closely. The picture showed a much younger Alex sitting on the floor of a tiny apartment with his wife and 5-year-old son. There were no expensive clothes. No luxury furniture. No signs of success. Only genuine smiles. Ryan frowned. But you were broke. Alex nodded. I was. And somehow, I felt richer than I did 20 years later. Ryan didn't know what to say. Alex continued. When you're building something big, it's easy to believe every sacrifice is temporary. You miss one birthday because the business needs you. You skip one vacation because investors are visiting. You cancel one family dinner because an important client calls. It always feels like just one more time. He paused. The problem is, life keeps count even when you don't. Ryan felt those words hit harder than any business advice he had ever heard. Alex opened the old notebook. Its pages were filled with business goals, revenue targets, and expansion plans. Every year had bigger numbers. Bigger ambitions. Bigger dreams. Then Alex turned to the final page. It was almost empty. Only one sentence was written across the center. I built everything, except the life I thought I was building. Ryan stared at the page without speaking. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about growing faster. He was wondering whether success had a price nobody talked about. Around this point, if you enjoy stories that reveal the hidden psychology behind money, wealth, and success, subscribe to Dark Capital. Every story is designed to help you discover the lessons that most people don't learn until it's too late. That evening, Ryan drove home without turning on the radio. The silence felt louder than usual. He couldn't stop asking himself one question. If millionaires regret something more than losing money, what is it? Ryan barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the three objects Alex had placed on the table. The luxury watch. The faded family photograph. The old notebook. One represented what the world admired. The other two represented what the world rarely noticed. The next morning, Ryan arrived at his office before sunrise. Normally, he loved being the first one there. The quiet office made him feel productive. That morning, it felt different. He looked around at the awards hanging on the walls. Fastest growing agency. Top young entrepreneur. Forbes 30 under 30 nominee. Only a day earlier, those achievements had filled him with pride. Now they raised an uncomfortable question. What had they quietly cost him? He opened his calendar. Every hour was booked. Investor calls. Client meetings. Marketing reviews. Hiring interviews. Networking dinners. Weekend conferences. There wasn't a single evening reserved for himself. Not one. For the first time, Ryan realized he had become successful at managing a business, while completely failing to manage his own life. That afternoon, he called Alex. I can't stop thinking about what you said. Alex laughed softly. I was hoping you wouldn't. Ryan hesitated before asking. When did you realize you were chasing the wrong thing? There was a long silence. Finally, Alex answered. The day my son graduated from college. Ryan looked confused. Weren't you there? I was. Alex's voice became quieter. I was sitting in the front row. I clapped. I smiled. I even gave a speech afterward. Ryan didn't understand. Then what went wrong? Alex took a slow breath. My son hugged me after the ceremony. And thanked his mother for raising him. Ryan stayed silent. Alex continued. He wasn't trying to hurt me. He was simply telling the truth. I had provided everything money could buy. But I hadn't provided enough of myself. Ryan felt a chill run through his body. Alex wasn't talking about business anymore. He was talking about regret. The kind of regret that arrives years after the decisions have already been made. The kind that no amount of wealth can erase. You know what's dangerous about ambition? Alex asked. Ryan quietly replied. What? It never tells you when enough is enough. You always think the next milestone will finally allow you to slow down. The next deal. The next investment. The next promotion. The next million. But the finish line keeps moving. Ryan looked out the window of his office. People hurried through the streets below. Some were chasing promotions. Some were chasing recognition. Some were chasing money. Suddenly, they all looked like runners on an endless treadmill. Always moving. Never arriving. Alex broke the silence. People think becoming a millionaire gives you freedom. It can. But only if you don't sacrifice everything that freedom was supposed to protect. Ryan opened his notebook. Instead of writing business ideas, he wrote a single question across the page. What am I slowly losing while I'm busy winning? He stared at the words for several minutes. For the first time in years, his biggest concern wasn't growing his company. It was making sure success didn't quietly steal the life he was trying so hard to build. That single question changed the way he looked at every opportunity. Every new client. Every late-night meeting. Every business trip. Every promise he made. Because he finally understood something Alex had learned decades too late. The most expensive mistakes in life rarely show up on a bank statement. They show up in memories that were never created. In conversations that never happened. In relationships that slowly disappeared while you were too busy to notice. And once those moments are gone, no fortune in the world can buy them back. Ryan didn't make a dramatic announcement. He didn't sell his company. He didn't disappear from the business world. From the outside, almost nothing changed. But inside, every decision began with a different question. Will I be proud of this decision 10 years from now? That single question quietly replaced every goal he had been chasing. The following Monday, an investor called with an offer. If Ryan accepted, the company would expand into 3 new cities within a year. The numbers were incredible. The valuation would nearly double. Every entrepreneur he knew would have accepted without hesitation. A year earlier, Ryan would have done the same. Instead, he asked for 48 hours to think. His partners couldn't believe it. Why would you even hesitate? This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. Ryan smiled. Maybe. But opportunities also have prices. That night, he visited his parents for dinner. It was the first family meal he had attended in months without checking his phone every few minutes. His mother noticed immediately. You seem different. Ryan laughed. I think I finally understand something. What? I've been treating every business opportunity like it's the last one I'll ever get. His father smiled. That's how fear disguises itself. Those words stayed with Ryan. Fear didn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looked like endless ambition. Sometimes it looked like never being satisfied. Sometimes it looked like believing you could always make up for lost time later. Over the next year, Ryan made dozens of decisions that confused people around him. He turned down clients who demanded every hour of his life. He hired leaders instead of trying to control everything himself. He took real vacations without opening his laptop. He protected his health with the same discipline he once reserved only for business. To everyone else, it looked like he had become less ambitious. In reality, he had become more intentional. Ironically, the company continued to grow. Not because Ryan worked longer hours. But because he finally understood that exhausted people rarely make extraordinary decisions. Clear minds do. 3 years later, Ryan received an unexpected invitation. Alex wanted him to speak at a gathering of young founders. As Ryan walked onto the stage, he looked at hundreds of ambitious faces. He saw himself in every one of them. Hungry. Driven. Convinced that success was always one achievement away. He reached into his bag and held up the same faded family photograph Alex had shown him years earlier. The room became silent. I used to believe this story was about becoming a millionaire, Ryan said. It isn't. It's about realizing what money can never replace. He paused. The greatest lesson Alex ever taught me wasn't how to build wealth. It was how not to lose myself while building it. Nobody moved. Nobody checked their phones. Ryan looked across the audience one last time. If you're lucky, you'll become successful. If you're wise, you'll decide in advance what success is never allowed to take from you. That sentence stayed in the room long after he left the stage. Because almost every millionaire eventually asks the same question. Was it worth it? The people who ask that question at the end of life often carry painful regrets. The people who ask it today have the chance to build wealth without sacrificing the people, moments, and peace that made becoming wealthy meaningful in the first place. Thank you for watching Dark Capital. If this story changed the way you think about success, wealth, and ambition, subscribe to Dark Capital for more stories that reveal the hidden psychology behind the decisions that shape extraordinary lives. Remember, becoming a millionaire is an achievement. Building a life you never have to regret is the real success.